Hello, welcome back to another episode of Backwater Bassing. Today I'm going to show you guys how to clean your bait casters, what the oil, what the grease, just simple basic maintenance. Okay, there's a lot of videos out there on the internet, on YouTube, that go into more depth detail of it, and I could show you that too, but I have a feeling it would take a little bit too long. So what I'm going to show you is just the basics, how to take it apart, how to clean it, all that good stuff. Okay, now if you want to check out the other videos, check out Fluke Master, check out Flare, check out Tackle Junkie. He's got a number after his thing, but I'm not sure what it is, like Tackle Junkie 76, 86, something like that, 26. But check him out. He's the best at showing in-depth detail how to take it completely apart. I mean, all the way down to the worm gear and pinion gears and all that. I'm just going to show you the basics today. And okay, welcome back. First off, let me apologize to you. I already tore this reel apart. It's Black Max, made by Abu Garcia. I already tore it apart and pretty much greased it, or not greased it, but oiled it up, and totally checked my camera and it wasn't recording at all. So basically I just put it all back together for you guys, and I'm going to start over about how to take it apart and show you where to oil, because I already done it, and then I'll finish up with showing you how to grease and put it all back together. Now that that's over, and I apologize for this, but here we go again. Okay, first thing you're going to want to do is take your handle off. Put it in there, one little screw. Of course, you want to make sure you keep your stuff in order however you think it would help you out. I usually put my cap over top of the screw, so that way I know it goes to it. Alright, then take your 10mm screwdriver socket and loosen it up, and I always do that. You got to remember on these bait casters, normally you go righty tighty, lefty loosey. That's the same whenever you're working on cars or anything like that, but on a bait caster for some reason you got to turn to the right to loosen it, not to the left. Alright, turn to the right, get that screw off. Alrighty, see, there I go, turning to the right again. I mean the left. Okay, pop that off. Alright, and one major thing I like to pay attention to when I'm taking apart a bait caster is pay attention to the little details. Like, for instance, this little sleeve here, it keeps your reel from sitting flush up on that. Make sure you put it back on the same way it comes off, so that way you don't have any problems or issues. See how it's got like little wings on the side here? Well, them little wings gotta be sitting down on it so the arch is up. Okay, set that off to the side. Hold your spool, spin loose your brake. Again, righty to loose. Take that off. Okay, inside there you got two spacers. Now these spacers are kind of sort of like egg shaped. They're not perfectly flat, they're concave. When you put them back on, you got to have one down and the other one facing the opposite direction. Let me see if I can show you this. Okay, so it's kind of concave. Alright, then what you want to do is have the other one sitting on it so it's facing the opposite direction, so they're not sitting flush. They kind of rock back and forth on each other. Now if you have it the other way, they'll both be flush, and see right there, flush, and you have no rocking, so it'll put less pressure on your brakes. So they got to be like that so they're rocking, one up, one down. Okay, and then there'll be a little sleeve or spacer, I like to say. Then you reach in here, there's another little sleeve, pull that out. As you can tell, it's clean already. I already cleaned all my parts. Like I said, I messed up, so. Alright, then what you're going to want to do is loosen up this nut right here, which is an actual bar that holds your brake plate on, your side case. That'll only unscrew so far because it's got a spring on it, spring loaded. Okay, once you loosen that up, twist and pull off. That's your brake cover. Pull out your spool. Alright, now you're going to have 5 screws on this. First one is on the inside, silver. It's very easy to remember where that one goes because the other screws are black on the Abu Garcia Black Max. I don't know if they're the same on everything else, but I know they are on a Black Max. Okay, now the other 4 screws are going to be black. Okay, you got one here, one here, and one on the back side. Okay, you get those out. All 3 of them are the same size. See what I'm talking about? Okay, and you got one more, which is right here, and it's connected to, well, it's not connected to the faceplate. That's got 2 other screws. There's a screw here and a screw on the inside, which I'll show you in a minute. But this smaller screw always faces this plate. It's the shortest one, and you want to make sure it goes back in the right spot. Okay, see how much shorter that is compared to all the rest? Okay, now stuff wants to start to come apart, so you pretty much pinch it together with yourself. Now see how it's spring loaded? I was telling you. Okay, pull that off, flip it upside down, and of course everything looks pretty good in there because I already wiped it all off. Okay, what you want to do is put your finger on there and grab your main gear, lift straight up, and give it a little wiggle here and there. There you go. Okay, set that down like so. Take these 2 little springs out, set them off to the side. Grab this whole little sleeve, and you got a gear that sits in there. That's your spool gear. Okay, it's got a big groove in it. Sits right inside of this groove on this. Now that's where you're going to want to put grease. I never did that because I was telling you guys how to do this. Then you take this part, put that there. Okay, and that's pretty much it. You can take this off because there's a bearing under there. If you grease it, that'll be just that screw and that screw. That whole piece will come right off in one thing. Grease up that bearing, put it back down, no big deal. Okay, this is your worm gear. Takes a little more effort to get it off, but see, there's the other screw I was telling you about. So the faceplate stays on there. Alright, now first thing you would want to do is take your oil and oil up all your bearings that you can see. Obviously, if you want to do that, when you got to undo them 2 screws, like I said, grease up that one that's under there. Okay, set that off to the side. Grab your side cover. There's a bearing there. Grease that up. Oil it up. Excuse me. Big bearing in here. Grease them up. Oil them up. One in here for your tensioner knob. Oil that up. Okay, then now that's all you need for the oil. And the next thing you're going to want to do, well, I forgot one thing with oil. This is my own personal preference. What I like to do is anywhere there's friction, I'll put some, like all around in here on this, because this is your stuff here. So you got moving parts, you get all this friction. See that right there needs a little bit of juice on it. Dab that up a little bit. Okay, and you flip them back, just so you can create less friction, because more friction you got, the worse it is. Okay, and you just work it back and forth a little bit. Okay, there you go. Set that off to the side. Okay, I'll show you inside of here. Okay, inside of your main brass gear, you got a little washer sits on top, bigger washer. Now this washer here is flat on one side, concaved, well not concave, but raised on the other side. Okay, and make sure that goes back in right too. Then inside of there, you got your brake. Big gear brake pad, okay? And here, this is for your casting button gear and another brake pad. Okay, once you oil everything up, this is what you want to do. All right, grab your grease. This is where your grease comes into play. Get you a pretty good dabble on there. Grab this little sleeve and put it on the metal side. See, there's a little metal side there. I don't know if you can see that. And the back side is just plastic. But place your glob of grease right there on the metal side. Put as much as you want. Me, I like just putting a pretty good little dab like that. Okay. And then you grab your spool gear. Place it back in there. And pretty much the grease will hold it until you get it back into place. And grab your body. As I said, this piece only goes on one way, facing the thing. And you just got to make sure this little gear goes in that hole like it's supposed to. There you go. Alright. Then what you're going to want to do is take this star gear, make sure the teeth are facing counterclockwise. Place it back on and only go on one way, like everything else. Alright. See, when you engage your thing, it'll slap up in there and catch. Okay, then you want to put on your brake pad. Okay. Set that down for a second. Alright, then you're going to want to grab your big main gear. Put your brake disc back in there. Your spacer, remember, raised edge up, flat side down on the brake. Set that in. Of course, it'll only go one way too because of this gear. Alright, it's going to sit up on top of that gear. Just kind of take your finger right here and wiggle it just a little bit. Just wiggle it a little bit until it clicks down like so. Okay, then it's all lined up. Take your spacer, put it back on. Alright, now a lot of people like greasing up their main gear. Me personally, that's why I put a bigger dab right there, because when you spin this, well, of course it's not working, but you spin your gear, it's going to spin the other gear and it's going to pick up that grease and put it right on your main gear. So alright, see, the grease gets all on there, no big deal. Okay, once you do that, and you want to grab your springs, put them back on the spring holders. Okay, now that they're back on there, grab your side plate. A little tricky. Put it back in the hole. Back in that hole. Okay, everything's in. What I like to do is kind of hold everything together with my hand, flip it over and replace the silver screw first, the one that goes on the inside, the one you can't mistake, because this will pretty much hold everything else together for you, so you ain't got to worry about it falling back apart. Okay, screw that back in. Okay, there you go. Now it's pretty much being held there, it won't come apart. Okay, then what you're going to want to do, place your sleeve. Alright, place your spacer. Alright, remember, put these on. One of them where the concave's up, first one. And the next one, concave down. So I'll show you a nice gap in there like that. Okay. Not that yet. And you'll want to put your spool back in. Side plate back on. Screw that in. So hold the side plate on. Okay. And grab a brake adjuster. Remember, lefty, to put it back on, and make sure you do not cross thread it, because if you do, it won't go on correctly and you will catch hell getting it off. Okay, there you go. Spin to the right or left and put it back on. Put your finger on your spool, tighten it back up. Okay, we'll go with that for now. Okay, remember what I said, this little plate here. Put that back on to where the tabs are touching down, and it puts a little bridge up in there. Put your handle back on. Put your screw back on. Same deal, you gotta be careful not to cross thread it. There you go. Okay, take your socket wrench, tighten it up to where it's just square. See how the nut's square in there? Put it right in line with your hole, and the cap will line up every time. And you put your cap back on, put your little screw in there. Screw that on, okay. And time to put your other screws back in. Okay, remember, small screw, always on the faceplate. Screw in first. Snug it down, don't go too tight, you strip it. And the other three, don't really matter where they go, just put them in the remaining holes. Alright, put that one in there. Like so. That one in there. Like so. And flip it around, put your last screw back in here. Okay, and the last thing, since I didn't take the worm gear and stuff out, take your oil pen, put it on the worm gear there, give it a pretty good squirting, spin your handle a couple times, get it on the other side, give it a pretty good juicing. Okay, put your cap back on. Go ahead and work your worm gear in there and get it all lubed up. Yeah, everything's going pretty good. Spool spinning. Worm gear's moving back and forth. everything's good. Okay, loosen up your tensioner and it will make your handle spin a lot easier. See there? I have mine preset for my lure, but I'll reset it. No big deal. There you go, everything lubed up nice and good. Alright, I hope this has helped you guys out. Remember, if you like the video, please hit the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment. I'm always interested in your comments, so that way I know what to do different next time, or what you guys would like to see. Thanks again. Till next time.